2 weeks after the Montana incident, the beach looked like a postcard again. Paradise, they called it. Umbrellas dotted the shore like candy-colored mushrooms. Children laughed in the shallows. Music spilled from beachfront bars. Everything was picture perfect on the surface. But just beyond the reef, the Coast Guard drifted in silence, armed, waiting, and no one fished the deeper waters anymore, though no one ever said why. The signs were subtle, unless you knew what to look for. I did. And so did Dr. Lena Hanson. I was working with her back then, a marine biologist with more brains than most of Washington combined. For months, she'd tracked erratic shark behavior, but after the boating accident, she stopped playing nice with the data. "Something's wrong," she said, her fingers stabbing at her laptop screen. "This isn't predatory instinct. These are calculated attacks." Hammerheads were ramming fiberglass boats, bull sharks coming up in waist-deep water. None of it made sense. Not unless you were willing to consider the impossible. I wasn't, not yet. Then came the sunset cruise. Jenny and Brad, honeymooners from Ohio. The kind of people who wore matching shirts and thought saltwater taffy was exotic. The party was in full swing when Jenny dared him into the water. Just a quick swim, a laugh, a splash. That was the last anyone heard of her laughter. The screaming came next. Blood, sudden and thick, churned the water. One moment they were holding hands. The next, she was gone. The Coast Guard cleaned it up fast. Too fast. They called it a freak accident, a rogue bull. I saw the photos. Those weren't feeding bites. They were rage. The kind of damage you'd expect from a chainsaw, not an animal. That was when I met Captain Maverick Johnson. He'd worked these waters longer than I'd been alive. Said he hadn't seen anything like it in 40 years. "It started after that drug boat went down," he told me. "Something's different now. Something's learning." We took his fishing boat out to Sombrero Reef. Just me, Lena, and Mav. We dropped an underwater camera over the side, hoping to catch a glimpse of whatever had turned the Keys into a killing ground. We got more than a glimpse. At first it was just shadows. Then movement, slow, deliberate, massive. A shark, but not just a shark. Scarred, thick-bodied, its snout dusted with something pale, its eyes not just aware, but alert. "It's looking at us," Lena whispered. Then the boat shuddered. One hit, two. The wood groaned like a sinking coffin. The water started to rise, and then he breached. Apex, that's what we call him now. 25 feet of flesh and fury, a great white twisted by something unnatural. His eyes were black, soulless, but burning with intelligence and something else. Addiction. Lena grabbed a flare gun, fired it straight into his face. The beast let out a sound I didn't think sharks could make. Not a roar, not a growl. It was anguish and hate. Then he was gone. We made it back alive, barely. But the footage, we watched it later, frame by frame. It wasn't just Apex. There were others, smaller sharks, twisting through the water in jerky, erratic spirals, their movements unnatural, their behavior fractured, feeding on whatever Apex left behind, flesh laced with cocaine. The madness had taken root. And that's when I realized this wasn't an isolated phenomenon. It was a contagion, a chemical plague with fins and teeth. Apex was only the beginning. The ocean was changing, and we were running out of time.